Both teams heading out of the timeout. Apologies to those of you that are just joining us through some technical difficulties on the stream. Loughborough Riders currently leading the Solent Kestrels 18-8 midway through the first quarter. And there'll be a Kestrels ball to inbound with Karpova inbound into Endine. Endine nowhere to go with the drive cut off. Finds Meyer. Meyer reverses through Velke. Back into Meyer, posting up. Strong move inside. And a travel call following some tough defense from Robin Ainge.
Loughborough doing a great job at the moment of really working hard defensively. I think they're undersized against this team, but they're doing well to keep the ball out of the paint.
And just brief pause here. And I think there was a mistake with one of the team sheets. But we're good to go underway now, and it'll be Ainge to start the possession for the Loughborough Riders. Ainge reverses through Bird. Bird finds Hicken, although some swarming defense from Endine. Hicken wild and out of control, can't get to the rack. And Solent are going to look to run it back the other way. Velke sends Endine through. Travel calls. Another great defensive possession for the Riders with Casey Cutts rotating in to take away the roll. And Ainge has it now. Ainge finds Januszewska. Januszewska into the paint, and a foul is called. I want to go on number 10, Erica Meyer. And there'll be a baseline ball, I believe, for the Riders. Cox has it. Cox drives inside, tough up and under, and the Riders just can't get the lid off the basket on the last couple of possessions. Cox going coast to coast, can't find Ainge, just passes it behind her. Bird now for the Riders, tries to get into the paint, and another travel called. And turnovers starting to add up for both teams.
Seems as though both teams need a little bit of patience at the moment. They're getting good looks, but they seem to be forcing a few shots.
I guess that's to be expected as well. Both teams coming in. This is the first game for the Riders. It's the third game, I believe, for Solent, currently sat at 1-1. So they've had a little bit more game rep, but everyone's preseason's been massively disrupted by the coronavirus. So absolutely. I guess a little bit of rust is to be expected.
Nice little give and go action there with Casey and Erin.
Hicken can't get it to go though, and it'll be a Riders ball on the baseline. Can't find Cox. It's another turnover.
I think Solent have really got to look to exploit the Riders' switching defense at the moment. They've got a lot more size inside. They just need to find some patience and execute. Here we go.
Velke in the paint. Nice pass. Finds Meyer. Meyer up, and it's a foul called. And that one's going to go on Hannah Bird for the Riders. And checking into the game as Erin Hicken heads to the bench. Is Emma Morris. Her first appearance for the Loughborough Riders, joining this season. And that's someone that has obviously been a part of the WBBL practices as well with you, Christina. What can you tell us about her?
She's previously struggled for a few weeks with some knee injuries, and she's only recently coming back to practice with us. But she likes to run, she likes to push, she can shoot the ball well. So it'll be interesting to see what she can do tonight.
Ainge from way downtown, no good. And it's rebounded by Velke. Endine pushes at the other end, gets it to go. And Solent just chipping away at that Riders lead. Azuska can't get the pass inside to Cox, but it was deflected by the Kestrels. So it'll be a Riders ball on the baseline. Bird has it now. Bird drives into the paint. Finds Morris. Morris for the 2. It's good. And that's exactly what you were talking about, Christina. Velke inside. Out to Karpova, who is a 3-point threat and gets it to go. 6-point lead now for the Riders. Solent slowly chipping away.
A couple more big shots like that and it'll be a lot different with the game.
Januszka with the crossover. Skip pass to Ainge. Turns down the shot, gets into the paint. Gets the bucket to go and the foul. Foul called on Karpova. And so Robin Ainge will go to the line. Ainge to convert the M1. It's good. And the Riders lead back up to 9. 1 minute 43 left to play in first quarter action here at Loughborough University. Endine closely guarded by Ainge. Finds Karpova. Head fake gets a defender in the air. Out to Velke for 3. It's good.
It was great vision by the post player there to find the shooter in the perimeter wide open.
Ainge again for the Riders. And a foul called on Christina Karpova, former Loughborough University student herself. And that'll be her second foul. And with Solent being in the team fouls, Ainge will go to the line and shoot 2. Ainge up to 4 points personal. Make that 5. Has played the whole way so far. And gets the second one to go as well. And that'll be the first time that Robin Ainge checks out of the game. 6 points personal as Erin Hicken comes in. Endine. Across to Finn. Finn in for the first action of the game for the Solent Kestrels. And there's a foul called on the post-up. The Bird just reaching over the back of Alicia Jackson, who had strong position on the low block. And in team fouls, we just need to be aware of that.
I feel like that's one of those fouls that's a little cheap. You either got to make the decision to get around the player early and make it a difficult pass, or if she's caught it, you've got to respect the defense. Player one-on-one.
And referee deems that Jackson stepped over the line before the shot hit the rim. So it'll be a Riders ball at the sideline. And Hannah Bird checks out with Eri Guzzali coming in for the first action. So in Loughborough colours, another debutant today. Hicken finds Morris. Morris thinks about the jumper, takes it the second time. Probably had the time and space the first time to let it fly. And Kestrels down the other end. And a great transition break, and it's another foul for the Riders.
That's going to start to really hurt the Riders if they continue to give out these cheap fouls. Solent did a great job by pushing in transition.
Meyer at the line. No good on the first. No good on the second either, but somehow manages to come up with the offensive board. Out to Velke. Velke finds Finn for free. Front rims it. And Katie Januszewska is going to look to push the pace. Finds Hicken spotting up for free. In and out. And it's another rebound for Endine. And Endine goes coast to coast. Finds Finn inside. Finn somehow manages to get it to Jackson, but just can't get the layup to go. And all of a sudden, this game's really opened up into end-to-end basketball. Katie Januszewska gets into the paint. Kicks out to Cox. Shot clock's turned off. Game clock down to 3. Cox with the turnaround fadeaway, no good. And it's rebounded by the Kestrels. And at the end of one quarter, it's the Loughborough Riders, 25. The Solent Kestrels, 18. And other than those last couple of possessions, it's been quite a cagey affair so far.
Yeah, but like you said before, I think that for a lot of people, this is their first game out. It's been a long off-season. It's been a long pre-season with a lot of disruptions. I know up here we've had a couple COVID situations where we've had to isolate. So I think that the second half will look a lot different. I think people just need to get their legs under them and get the feel for being back on the court again.
This is also a consideration as well that while some of these girls are returning from Charnwood, having played in Division 1 last year, there's a new coach for them this season. There's a couple of new players joining from the Loughborough University side. So new coach, new ideas, and also a new roster for their first game and their first action on the floor. They'll be pretty pleased to be up by 7 against a team of Solent's level, where they're sat at 1-1 in the league, and they've always been competitive across the board. So hopefully some positives from the Riders side of things.
No, absolutely. And Coach Lee is always going to bring his best team, and he's going to coach them very well. And he's relentless. He's an extremely passionate coach, so it's never going to be an easy battle for Riders. So you're right. Right now they're doing very well. They're in a good position. I think for Solent more specifically, I think that they can exploit Riders' defense a little bit more. They just need a little bit more patience. And sometimes reverse the ball to the other side, look at trying to get the post from a different angle.
So 25-18 as we're just about to get underway with second quarter action here at Loughborough University. As we're saying, the third weekend of NBL Division 1 for the women's game. Men's league season opened up today in Division 1. These two teams actually met twice last year, with Solent taking both of those games, coming out on top. As we were saying, very different roster this year for the Riders, so hopefully looking to be way more competitive in NBL Division 1 on the women's side this season. So Morris to inbound for the Riders. Into Hicken. Hicken finds Gutzali. Couple of head fakes, backs down, finds Morris on the perimeter. Morris no good with the free, and that'll go out of bounds to be a Solent Kestrels ball. Inbound to Endine. Endine finds Finn. Finn coming off the screen from Maya. Maya posting up against the smaller Hicken. Finds Velke for 2. And that one's good, and it's now just a 5-point lead for the Riders. Januszewska gets inside of the paint. A lot of contact, but loses the handle. And Solent's going to be coming the other way now. Velke finds Endine. Endine drives into a crowded paint. Velke finds Kukowski. Kukowski for 2. It's good, and it's just a 3-point ball game now.
seems Solent are coming out with a lot more composure in this quarter, which it seems to be working in their favour.
The Riders' biggest lead of the game was 10. And that's exactly what they need at the other end from Erin Hicken, just to stop the bleeding ever so slightly. And she gets the bucket to go, so she'll head to the line and shoot one.
And that's a great read on the back cut there and great execution.
Hicken at the line. Former Myerscough College player, has played part of the Loughborough basketball program now for a couple of seasons. Stepped up to play WBBL last year with you guys as well. What have you seen from her over the last couple of seasons?
She was really impactful for us last season. We had a lot of injuries at different points. We had different people out for different reasons, and she really stepped up. She matured a lot over the course of the season. I remember there was particular games where she could knock down a couple threes for us in very clutch situations. So I think she'll do great things for this team this year, bring in leadership, but also a little bit more experience.
As Mayer inside gets a 2 to go for the Kestrels, 4-point ball game. Molly James has the ball. Full reversal to Hicken, gets the advantage, drives into the paint, and another foul called. And Solent only here with 9 players, picking up a lot of early fouls.
I think that's great from Hicken. I think she has to be relentless about pushing it to the basket until she gets stopped.
No good on the first. That's the second one to go though. So 8 minutes 14 left to play in first half action here at Loughborough University. And Finn has it on the blow-by after a long closeout. And Dean now. Dean again looking to drive in a crowded space. Kicks out to Finn though. And Finn gets the 3 to go. 2-point ball game. As the Riders will look to answer. Sasha Lakoya on the perimeter. Driving lane cut off by Endine. Finds Januska. Katie Januska finds Hicken. No good for 3. Cox battling for the rebound. But it's Kestrels who come up with it. And Jackson with the rim run. Just can't get the catch and finish. And the Riders very lucky not to have given up an easy 2 on that one. Lakoya finds Hicken in the corner for 3. It's good, and that was also needed. Ending down at the other end finds Velke on the perimeter. And Velke so far not come out of the game. Finds Endine, who answers straight back at the other end. And with that, there'll be a timeout for the Loughborough Riders. 32-33 the lead. As you were saying, Solent coming into this off the back of 2 games already, having defeated the Bristol Flyers 68-63 in their opening game of the season, and then falling to its basketball last weekend 71-79. But Velke in that game against Ipswich having 24 points and 17 rebounds. He's definitely going to be one that the Riders have scouted and clued up on in advance of the game, and already 8 points, 2 rebounds and 3 assists for her. Said as well, she hasn't checked out of the game yet, so it's quite clear that a lot of the basketball for the Solent Kestrels runs through her. And if the Riders want to start to pull back away and rebuild that lead, they're going to have to get her in check and under control.
Coach Lee there is still demanding more from his team, so you can expect them to step it up another notch in this quarter.
Someone as well that's always going to have his team prepared and ready to play.
Absolutely.
The sort of coach as well that whenever I've spoken to any of his former players, is someone that everyone's always willing to play for, and will always go to battle for.
I think he just brings a certain level of energy that it's easy to match as a player on the court when you're playing for him.
So Riders out of the timeout. It'll be Sasha Lakoya. Finds Hicken. Hicken off the screen from Januszewska. And Kukowski just stepped on the baseline as she tried to keep it in bounds. So the Riders just saved themselves a turnover and will get an opportunity to get the possession back with a shot clock on 9. James in the corner penetrates into the paint. Almost loses it. Shot clock down to 5. Hicken finds Ainge. Ainge has to get it up. Doesn't know that the shot clock's ticking down, and Jackson comes up with the ball for the Kestrels. Fair ending again, trying to get into the paint, but driving lanes cut off. Finn in the corner, no good. And is rebounded by Lakoya. Finds Ainge. Ainge going coast to coast. And it's deflected out of bounds. Last touch by the Kestrels. Januszewska finds Hicken. Hicken for 3, no good. Ainge comes up with it. Finds Januszewska in the corner, still no good. And the Riders' last few possessions just struggling to find any sort of look.
Solent are doing a much better job of plugging the paint now, so it's not as easy for people to get to the rim. So Riders are going to have to look for an alternative solution offensively.
Hicken has it. Hicken into the crossover, throws up a wild one. Jackson comes up with the ball. Velke pushing at the other end. Jackson rim running again. Hits the underside of the rim on the layup though. And that's another opportunity for Solent to take the lead where Riders have just got lucky. And they're going to want to get a check on Solent's transition offense.
Definitely. I think it's a case of getting back and locating and communicating. Because their bigs are running straight down the middle of the floor and they're unchecked.
Also doesn't help when you're not forcing Solent to take the ball out of bounds off the back of the score. So if you're finding tough shots or if you're turning the ball over, it's going to be much easier for them to run in transition. And there's another turnover again for the Riders.
Oh, an opportunity for Solent to really gain momentum here.
Velke has it, driving lane completely cut off. Hicken gets away with a lot of contact. Advances to James. James is going to go in for an easy 2. Just gets the roll. And the Riders retake control of the game with a 2-point lead. Velke inside to Kukowski. Kukowski gets into the spin cycle. And we've had a bench warning there from the referee, I believe. They're stopping the game for a bench warning though, so. And a rebound by Kukowski. Velke has it. Reverses for Endy. Endy thinks about the shot, gets the defender in the air to buy a second. Jackson finds Kukowski, and it's all tied up again.
The Riders really need some composure here. They've had a couple early threes.
And again, another look for the Riders where they can't find a good look at the basket. Solent go all the way down the other end and answer. Solent take their first lead of the ball game. Sorry, second lead. They're matching their biggest lead of the ball game at 2. So now now that they've retaken that lead, they're gonna want to try and extend it. Haynes lucky on the dribble. Another turnover down at the other end. Dean gets inside, gets the lefty layup up to go, and it's a 4-point lead now for the Kestrels.
Solent are doing a great job at continuing to punish these turnovers and poor decisions offensively by Riders.
James inside, find Ainge. Ainge for 3. Big shot from Robin Ainge, and that was definitely needed for the Riders. And then at the other end, Solent run a transition break. And for head coach Antonio Quintero Cano, that's going to be the most frustrating thing possible.
Yeah, you've got to expect as a player, you've got to expect a timeout after a situation like that. There's only so many scores in transition before you hear that whistle. You sit down and you take the feedback that he's no doubt going to give to them in a very strong way.
Absolute backbreaker of a play as well, though. You're down by 4, you hit a huge 3 to trim that lead to 1, and then 1 goes down the other end. You've got an easy score.
Again, I don't think it's because the Riders aren't there, they're not back, it's just that they're not locating, they're not talking. And so then continue to punish them for that.
And it's once you get into a transition flow as well, it's difficult to stop, and that's something that Solent are doing very well. You can see that they work on their transition and their primary break. They've always got a rim runner. They've always got someone with their nose on the rim trying to get an easy score. And if you don't match them in those first few paces and beat them in a foot race, they're going to get easy scores on you all night long. And that's why they've trimmed that lead and then retaken the lead for themselves. So 3 minutes 28 left to play in the second. Riders trailing by 3. A rather balanced affair for Solent as well, with Velke, Kukowski and Endine all chipping in 10 points each. So 3 of their biggest threats. The rest of the roster contributing either 1 basket.
They must be shooting the ball fairly well from 3 at the moment between the 3 of them as well.
Yeah, combined 2 for 2 between the 3 of them, which, I mean, it does mean they're shooting it pretty well, but 4 for 6 as a team, that's something you're going to want to and the referee just asking one of the players to tuck their shirt in.
Full court press here from Solent.
Ainge to Hicken. Hicken finds Ainge now on the perimeter. James off the elevator loses the ball, and an unsportsmanlike foul is called on Molly James, and that is not what you want out of a timeout.
It's unfortunate because I think that she was in a great position there when she came off the screen. But it happens, you fumble the ball.
And James will check out. Hannah Bird comes back in. It's the 3rd personal foul on Molly James. They're a bit of a factor on the scoring off the bench as well for the Riders with 7 points personal. So they need to find some scoring from somewhere else with the 5 that are on the floor at the moment.
I think they're really going to turn to some leadership now for the Riders with Hicken and Ainge. Their experience playing with the WBBL. They really need to rally this team to come together.
Both combining for 21 points so far as well, so they're going to need some more of that if they're to chip away at this 4-point lead from Solent. Velke tries to find Jackson inside, and there is Ainge to take it away. Looking to push the pace in transition. Lost her footing and the handle, and a double dribble is called. Velke has it. Velke inside to Jaju. Jaju fouled on the second chance opportunity.
Solent are doing a great job on the boards, giving themselves an extra opportunity. It seems like the Riders are really out of position at the moment with the defensive rebounds.
Jaju at the line to shoot 2, misses the first. Trying to extend Solent's lead, and does to 5, their largest lead of the game, having trailed by 10 early on. Hicken drives in, that's an offensive foul. And Erin Hicken, that'll be her 2nd foul. Velke has it for Solent.
I think Solent have done a great job with recognising the threats for riders, and they're really packing the paint and making it difficult for them to score.
Narju has it on the perimeter, almost loses the handle. Velke has it, shot clock down to 2, has to put up the 3, and it's good. And they're demoralising for the Riders. A strong defensive possession, only to see the 3 drop with a couple of seconds left on the shot clock. Lead now balloons to 8. Bird inside, no good.
Those are the kind of buckets that you want to put away. Easy 2 on the back cut.
De Stefano finds Velke, stripped away by Bird. Bird's going to try and go coast to coast. Penetrates, gets the right-handed layup and gets the friendly roll.
And that's great recognition from her, deciding to front the post after her early foul in the first.
De Stefano guarded by Hicken. Hicken nowhere to go. Ball finds its way out to Velke on the perimeter. And we've got another foul called. And that one's going to go on Robin Ainge. And that'll be her first foul of the game. It'll be a baseline ball for Solent. One minute 22 left to play in the first half here at Loughborough University. The Riders currently trailing by 6. Velke with the ball for Solent. Looks inside, can't find the pass. Safi Jaju penetrates. Velke baseline, shot clock down to 3 again. Morris comes up with it for the Riders, finds Bird wide open in transition. And Hannah Bird will go in for another easy 2. And it's now just a 4-point lead for the Kestrels. De Stefano finds Jackson up high. Jackson to Jaju, drives baseline. Kicks out to De Stefano. No driving line again. Finds Andrea Kakowski inside, and she's fouled on the 2. And Solent now just starting to show their experience and size inside. Trying to punish the Riders in and around the basket. Got to battle for early position, not give them that position to be able to gain the advantage. Ainge ahead to Morris, finds Bird in the corner, thinks about the 3. Can't get it over the closeout, has to throw up a wild shot. Katie Anazuska comes down with the ball and she's fouled. And she wasn't shooting, so it'll be a baseline ball.
Seems like a few players are hesitant to shoot right now for Riders, which is, I think, the sheer contrast between the 2 teams. Solent are very happy to put the 3 up, and Riders are second guessing their shot, and quite often they're left with not something better. So, got to shoot the ball with confidence.
Katie Anazuska finds Imogen here into the game for the first time. Morris drives, throws up a wild shot. And an offensive foul called on Eamon Morris. So 19 seconds left to play in the first half. Solent probably going to hold it for a last possession. Velke closely guarded by Ainge. Ainge comes up with it. Game clock down to 5. Here has to put up the heave. Finds Katie Anazuska inside. But it's no good. And at the end of the first half here at Loughborough University, it's the Loughborough Riders trailing 41-47 against the Solent Kestrels. We're going to take a short 10-minute break for halftime. And we'll be back with you for second half action. And welcome back to the Netball Centre at Loughborough University, where the Loughborough Riders are currently trailing the Solent Kestrels 41-47. Some standout performances from the first half. Erin Hicken with 12 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists. Robin Ainge with 9 points and 3 steals for the Riders. On the other side for the Solent Kestrels, Christina Velke with 13 points, 2 rebounds and 6 assists. Andrea Kakowski with 12 points and 3 rebounds, and then Faye Endine with 10 points, 3 rebounds and 2 assists. So at the minute it's kind of a battle of the more experienced players on both sides of the court. The big difference though for the Kestrels has been their 10 fast break points compared to 5 for the Riders. The Riders have only been to the free throw line 7 times, shooting 7 for 7, whereas Solent 15 times, only making 8. But if they start to hit on some of them, they could really pull away in this game. So it'll be Solent to get us back underway for the second half. And it's Endine who has the ball for the Kestrels. Finds Finn. Across to Jackson. And again, Kestrels looking to post up early in the third quarter. Be Charlotte Finn to inbound for the Kestrels. Initial option taken away, but finds Velke over the top. Velke with no driving lane has to back out. Gets into the paint, and it's a shot clock violation for the Loughborough Riders, and that's what you want on your first defensive possession to start the second half after trailing by 6.
I think that's one of those situations where you have to turn to your teammates. I didn't hear anyone pulling out the shot clock there on that one. So
James starting the second half for the Riders.
Good steal.
Comes with the ball, finds Ainge. Ainge, little head fake, can't drive baseline. Tries the skip pass, not enough on it. And the Kestrels will look to punish a turnover with Velke inside, left-handed layup, rattles around and drops. And the referee is just going to pause the game.
Both teams have come out running for this second half. Really looking to pick the defensive intensity up at both ends.
Ainge has it for the Riders. Ainge gets into the paint. Had the kick out to the corner, but goes for the tougher lefty layup. Can't get it to go. And a couple of really loose possessions from both teams out of the halftime break. Katie Yanazuska for the short 2, and that's exactly what the Riders needed to just settle themselves back into second half. And that's not what they need. As Solent look to go straight down the other end and get the and one called. As Charlotte Finn attacks Casey Cox, gets the bucket to go and an and one called.
I think that's the difference between junior basketball and making the step up to play at the women's level is you may score offensively or you may have a good possession offensively, but you've got to be ready to turn around quickly, like you mentioned earlier. The first few steps, you let someone get ahead of you, and it's a very difficult situation out on the break.
And Charlotte Finn gets the free throw to go, so converts the three-point play. And the Riders turn it straight over after a little bit of full court pressure from the Kestrels. Kestrels looking to try to extend the first 10-point lead. And it's another shot clock violation for the Kestrels.